everybody. On Friday evening, we hosted the international speaker and well-known Matthew Kelly. The place was absolutely jammed. 100 people came to Mass here. I came to the presentation because they wanted to learn more about our faith, to get deeper insights. That on a Friday night that 900 people would come was a great joy for me at All Saints. So I want to say thank you for doing that. Also, here's my homily. The gospel today are the words of Jesus about a subject that we don't like to listen to. It's about work and pay. And what he does is the worker goes out into the vineyard. People are working all day long, and then he hires people at the end of the day and he gives them the same wage. And they get mad. And he says, when you work for the kingdom, you can come in at any time. Everybody's going to get the same reward. Remember that you're working for the kingdom. When you work for the kingdom, that's how it is. For instance, we've got in our parish, we've got Father Panchin, who comes from Uganda. He's been on our parish just 1 year. Wonderful person. Father Miguel, who's been in our parish, I think on his 3rd year now, doing a great job, working hard. Father Blatchford, who's just been ordained 2 months. And then you have me, the old guy. I've been ordained for 48 years, and I get the same pay they get. Now, that shows you how little work I do. They do all the work. And the bishop says, you don't deserve it. But actually, it's living out this particular gospel. We're working for the kingdom. And not only do I get the same pay, but I promise you that I work at least 8 hours a day for 6 days a week. I'm supposed to get 1 day off. I don't get it. Why? Because I have a big family. With 2,800 families, you get a call at all kinds of times for this, for that, for the other. And we're servants of you, the parish. And that's the homily, is to begin to see, oh, there is an example of the kingdom out there. Now, there's other things that we don't do very well, but that's one thing we do very well. We put ourselves at the service of the people. Now, what's the big thing that is going to happen in our parish? Because you've heard all kinds of information about it, and I want to make sure that you have the correct information. And the ushers are going to come down the aisles in a few minutes, and they're going to send out cards to you that after you listen to me, you will understand what it is that I'm asking you to do with the cards. There's no contributions for this, no appeals for money or anything. I need workers. I need people who are called leaders. And what leaders will do is, because we're going to have a campaign to raise funds, I'm going to need homes to host about 20 or 30 people. I don't know where they are, but you do. Maybe you would say, I'll host somebody in my home, and I know 5 others, and I'm going to volunteer them too. That's a leader. Somebody who will host somebody and at the same time identify homes, and you can call them and say, I put your name down. Then I need people who are helpers. That's volunteers who will write in envelopes and post and do all those kinds of things. And that will be very, very important. And the last one, which really tops them all, is I need people to write down and say, I will pray for the success of this campaign. And that's what the card is. That's all it is. And as you listen to me, you can be thinking about whether you can do that or not. What is the campaign? Where did it come from? It's going to be, when it starts, and it's really starting now for our parish, because we are one of 4 parishes that are on the pilot phase of this program. They are All Saints Parish, the Cathedral Parish, Sacred Heart, St. John Newman, and St. Peter and Paul in Chattanooga. We will be launching the campaign in our parishes. What is it? It's going to be called the Home Campaign. because home in the church is where we worship, where we teach, and where we serve one another. And so all the literature that you get on the campaign will have that logo on it. It'll be customized for All Saints. Now, how did we get to have this campaign in the first place? You may, back in, at the end of the Eucharistic Congress in Sevierville, Bishop Sticca announced that we were going to build a new cathedral. And we all, priests, people, he said, okay, we're going to build a new cathedral, tell us about it. And the information that came out was that it was going to cost $35 to $38 million, and that the whole campaign would be directed towards the cathedral, because it's the most important church in the diocese. And most of us, including me and everybody else, said, that's all we're going to, and our elbows went out. And we talked about it, and we argued with it, because that's charity. Charity is to be honest with each other and to talk through it and find out where it is that we're going. And one of the wonderful things out of that is Bishop Sticca sent out a survey all through the diocese, and he came and had people visit and talk about the cathedral and everything, and he heard from them. Because one of the beautiful things I have to say about the Diocese of Knoxville is the people own their church. They have an investment in it, an involvement in it. They want to be heard in it. That's how it should be in all churches. And what I want you to know, wonderfully, our Bishop Sticca listened. And he heard us. And he reconfigured his ideas to accommodate also what seemed to be the spirit of what was happening in the diocese. Namely, parishes have needs, not just the cathedral parish, but we also believe that the cathedral should be such that it is the mother church of the diocese. And so the bishop changed the program to make it a parish-wide campaign, where, in a nutshell, 50% of the funds would be given to the diocese for their needs and towards the cathedral, and 50% would stay in the parishes. How did All Saints get involved in it? All Saints, even before the bishop said we're going to build a cathedral, All Saints leadership decided we have real needs in All Saints Parish. We are the biggest parish in the diocese. We have 2,800 families. We're still working out of the same space that we did 10 years ago. We don't have rooms to accommodate all of the programs that are really going on. And so we identified part of the needs of All Saints Parish is building new meeting rooms to accommodate the many ministries that we have. Another of them was we lived in, again, the offices that were there 10 years ago, and our staff were wonderful, but they were on top of each other, sharing rooms, not enough space, a lot of noise, a lot of interruptions, and so we identified that we need new office space to accommodate 4 priests, 2 deacons, a staff of 6 people. Can you imagine a parish our size only having a staff of 6 people? And yet that's the kind of energy and effort that goes into our place. Also, in our parish hall, so many things take place in our parish hall, and we serve meals. And sometimes they are the best of meals for funerals, for weddings, for events, all these kinds of things. And the ladies, particularly who work in the kitchen, said, this place is too small. We need a commercial kitchen to accommodate commercial needs that we have in our parish. And so that was identified as one of the needs. The parish hall, because as you know, on Christmases and Easters, we pack both places, and we need to extend it a little. And by the way, we're not building things that we would like, we're building things that we actually need. And so there will be an extension on the parish hall. We have a lot of families who are young families who would love to come to a lot of the events that we have but can't, because they have little children. and we are building a nursery there. And so those are the needs that were identified at All Saints Parish. And the bids have come in, the buildings have started, but the cost of the building is going to be $1,131,200. That's the cost of it. Now, before Bishop's appeal came, or the Bishop's campaign came, the home campaign, we were already involved, ready to go. And the Bishop came to me and said, look, I don't want to have two campaigns going on at the same time, because they can compete against each other. Is there any way that we could combine them? And one of the little things that I addressed with great advice, go to the Bishop, tell him we were already rolling, our people were ready to participate in this campaign. Is there any way that the first $1,131,200 off the top of any campaign will go directly to All Saints? And he came back most graciously, because he listens, and says, yes, All Saints can do that. So that 100% of that number, $1,131,200, goes completely to All Saints. 100% of that money that you will contribute in this campaign goes to All Saints, which is a very, very generous offer. Now, one of the things that I see, and you tell me, is that, look, I don't know how all this money stuff works in the church, and where does the diocese fit, and how come we're sending our money to the diocese, and how we need it here in our parish, and what goes on. So I'd like to give a little explanation of how it is that the diocese is funded, because it doesn't come from Rome. Okay? It comes from the parishes, from you, because this is our church. And the first way, when you come into a diocese and you set up a new diocese, the main source of money that comes in is what you give to the offertory on a Sunday. And here's something you need to know, just before I do that. Whenever you come in, and by the way, ushers, could you close the back doors, because the air conditioning is going out the back door. Thank you. When you come into church, everybody, no matter who you are, as soon as you walk in the door, you don't realize this, but I want you to realize it, because that's reality. You shoulder a debt of $360,000 a year just to have this building. So when you come in and you sit in the pew and you don't think about whether you can contribute, that's just the building, and walk in. Or if you call a priest on the phone and say, I need to talk to a priest, somebody is funding all of that. And the people get mad and say, can't get a priest when you want a priest. And that's true, many times. But I want you to take ownership of, because our parish is supported financially by only a third of our parish. And many are sitting in the pew and not doing that. I know when you go to a movie, you take $10 out of your pocket and put it down without batting an eye. When you go for fast food, automatically you say, yeah, of course I got to pay for it. But when it comes to church, we don't think that somehow or another we are to contribute at that level. Of course we come to pray, and I am absolutely convinced that one of the greatest witnesses to our faith is that on a Sunday morning you do come in these doors to pray. That's a huge contribution to who we are as a people. But it's here because people give also their time and their talent to accommodate what goes on in the parish. Now, the assessments. When you contribute to the offertory, at every parish throughout the diocese, 22% of that, it's like a tax, 22% of that goes directly to the diocese to fund administration and ministries and all of those kinds of things. Just automatically. That's part of how the diocese is funded, with assessments. Somebody asked me after my presentation one time, and how much of that goes towards administration? Well, I looked up the figures, and 7% of our assessment, it goes towards administration. The rest goes towards ministries. So that's a very good return for our dollar. Because you have the offices in the diocese, the Office of Catholic Schools, the offices of the Chancery, the offices of Social Action, the offices of, can you give me some more? Youth Ministry, Religious Ed, Catholic Schools, all of those kinds of things. That's what the assessments go to. But they don't fund the diocese. That's only a little portion towards what it costs to run the diocese. Just like, for instance, here at All Saints, you have the offertory, but we need fundraisers. That's why we have an adult social, because what you give in the offertory doesn't pay for all of the things that we actually do. So we look for other ways in which we can do it. So one of the ways in which that's done, and this is why I want to clarify this, we have the Bishop's Appeal. And the Bishop's Appeal comes every year, annually, round about between January and February, we're talking about it. And the Bishop's Appeal funds many of the ministries also that go on in the diocese that are underfunded by the assessments. Okay? And what I want you to know about the Bishop's Appeal, which is very important, but I'll get to it in a second, then you have capital campaigns, which is the home campaign, because we're going to do something special beyond what we do just with our offertory. And we say we need to fund it in a very particular way, and funds directed towards that. The gift campaign was what we did some years back, and now we're doing the home campaign. Now, the Bishop's Appeal comes every January, February. And I know for many years, and you for many years, have a one-time ask for the Bishop's Appeal, and I know that I have decided to give, and I normally do give every year to the Bishop's Appeal. And I will continue to do that even though we've got a campaign. Why? Because the running of the diocese must still continue. But it gets confusing. And so I have decided as pastor, some pastors said, no, that's not the way we're going to do it. But I have decided as pastor, for the benefit of our parish, that we will do the Bishop's Appeal and the home campaign at the same time. The reason I'm going to do that is because at this campaign, you can see I'm putting a lot of energy into the home campaign and trying to get it ready to go. I don't want to come back in January and put all my efforts into the Bishop's Appeal, because you are going to get confused and you're going to say, well, I thought we give to that, and I thought, what's this now? So what we're going to do is 2 for 1. It's 2 for 1. At the time of the campaign, the home campaign, what we will do is, and you don't have to make any contributions now or anything, I just want you to be clear about it, think about it, talk about it, and have the right information. You will be given one card. On one side will be the Bishop's Appeal. That's what I do every year. I contribute that. I'm going to continue to contribute that for the upkeep of the diocese. And then on the other side is the new home campaign, and that will be a separate item. For the next 3 years, I will contribute this to the home campaign. And so we're going to do a 2 for 1, and then when it comes January and February, we've already taken care of it. Now the following year, we'll get back to the Bishop's Appeal, because it'll only be one appeal at that stage. We've already got the program going. Okay? Now, every parish throughout the diocese has a goal set for them for the home campaign. And the goal is 1.4 times the 2013 offertory, which comes out at $1,769,522. That's our goal. But that's after we get the first $1.1 million. After that, it'll be divided 50-50 for our parish and for the diocese. Now the goal is $1,700,000, etc. dollars. But I, as pastor, have said I'm going to challenge you that we raise $3 million. Why do I say that? because the first $1.3 million will ensure that we won't have any extra debt after we do our buildings. But we still have a debt of $800,000. And the mortgage on that is $360,000 a year. We've been doing that. We've never had an extra collection for it. I want you to know, when I came here almost 9 years ago, coming on 9 years ago, the debt in All Saints Parish was $3,250,000. It is now $800,000. That is amazing. Without batting an eye, you have done that. And it is amazing. And I have to say, a small percentage of our parish have done that. And I am asking for people to come on board, take ownership, and we'll take care of that. Because our debt, $360,000 a year mortgage, if we raise $3 million, will be gone. For instance, I was told not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. We have nearly 3,000 families. If every parish, if every family contributed $1,000, we'd have $3 million. Now, that's not how it works. But it's well within our reach because of generosity of people, small numbers of people, who do what we do in All Saints Parish. We can do this. And if we can do it, that means every year we will have $360,000 to really pay for programs that we really need to get going in our parish. And it frees it up because you yourselves have mortgages, you know what debt is, you know how it saddles you, you know how hard it is. But with everybody playing their part, and that's all it is. And by the way, what I say to you is, it's nobody's business what you contribute to the campaign, except you and God. And if we do that as ownership to the life of this parish, because this parish was here before I came, and I am benefiting from the goodness of people who had that vision. I'll be gone, and this parish will continue to do that. It's to begin to see the parish. And so if we reach our goal of that, we will meet our debt. Now, here's what I really want you to see. Because All Saints Parish is different, how? I negotiated with the bishop to have the first top of the campaign given to us. That means if we raise $3 million, 70% of that stays in All Saints Parish. That means out of $3 million, $2 million will stay in All Saints Parish. Okay? That's very important to see. It's a tremendous deal. And as for the diocese, what are they going to do? What is the diocese? I shouldn't say they. What is the diocese going to do, the bigger church, with their 50%? It's not going towards the cathedral. It's divided up into the goals that have been set by the diocese. And the first goal set by the diocese is, where is it? You see charity? 10, and I know it says 5% there, but I'll explain it. 10% has been set aside. Bishop Sticka is setting up a charity fund called the Pope Francis Charity Fund. And that will go towards an outreach and charity to the poorest of the poor in our diocese. That's what they will be doing with their 50%, 10% of that. 8% of that will be going towards Catholic education, towards Catholic schools and religious education. It's good for you to know that parents who send their children to Catholic schools, that so many of them can't afford it, but there is a fund of $2 million that helps them with their tuition. And what this campaign is going to do is lift that up a little bit higher. That'll be 8% of the total of the diocese. All Saints is different. Those percentages, because we get off the top. 6% will go towards another ministry in the diocese, and that's for retired priests. Please help me soon. But for retired priests. And that fund is $2 million short, just like in society. And this campaign will boost that priest retirement to its full capacity in order to accommodate the priests that will serve our diocese. The expenses for the campaign will be 5%, and that includes paper, mailing, all of the little administration thing. And it's good for you to know, because people ask these questions: how about the fundraiser? How much are they going to get? What percentage are they going to get? They don't get a percentage. It's a fee. It's a set fee. On the first $45 million that's raised in the diocese, it's a set fee. It comes out around about 4%, but it's a fee that's fixed. Okay? That's important to know that. Why that graph is so important is because when it comes down to it, just because we get it off the top first, our contributions will be 11% towards the cathedral, 5% towards priest retirement, 5% towards charity, 4% towards Catholic education, and 5% towards, and 70% of 3 million is roughly $2 million odd dollars. Okay, now where are we going from here? Come on. Okay, those are the diocesan needs. Pope Francis Fund, priest retirement, education, a new cathedral. And just on the cathedral, this is very important. I began by telling you that the word was $35 to $38 million. Bishop Sticca has listened. Why build a cathedral anyway? Because it's the mother church in the diocese. Sacred Heart Church is too small to accommodate the diocesan needs. So the decision was made, and why the numbers were reduced. Sacred Heart Parish belongs to Sacred Heart parishioners, just like All Saints belongs to us. Okay? And so they are taking the heavy burden of raising the funds to build the cathedral. We are doing 11%. They're doing 100%. Okay? And the parish itself is going to contribute 10 million. Bishop Sticca and Cardinal Regali will go out to outside the diocese and raise money, and sometimes within the diocese, because there are people who want to be a part of, because they're capable of making a large contribution to help with something that they want because they love the church in Knoxville. And they intend to raise 10 million. That's 20. Where does the cost is going to be $25 million. Where does the other 5 come from? It comes from us. The rest of the diocese will contribute $5 million towards a $25 million cathedral. I mentioned about the bishop's appeal. There's no need to do that, except that in the bishop's appeal, the goal for the bishop's appeal for the next 3 years is going to be the same as it was. It's not going to be increased, which is awesome. If you're doing budgets, it's really awesome to know that that's going to be fixed for the next 3 years. Not only that, but let me say something to you. At the bishop's appeal, when All Saints contribute, even though that's our goal, 151,000, All Saints has always, since it began its new format, contributed over $200,000 to the bishop's appeal. And I'm just simply saying to you, please continue to do what you do. And even if it comes less, I don't need to go into all of that, but for instance, I give to the bishop's appeal every year. I also contribute to All Saints Parish every year, and I'm going to contribute to the capital fund, the home drive. Okay? That's what I'll be doing with my budget. I'll work it out the way I can. And just do me a favor. If you don't agree with any of it, please, please, please don't go out trying to persuade everybody else that they shouldn't either. It's none of your business. It's between you and God. And I'm trust that we will be well blessed if we have that kind of attitude. When we do it, we're starting October to November, November to January, January to February. The major gift phase will be October to November. We're coming into it. And I will be approaching the top 15% who are very generous to All Saints Parish and asking them to make a major gift to the parish, which will be roughly, in the major gift phase, $10,000 over 5 years or more. I need you to know, like in the multiplication of the loaves and fishes, Andrew came along with some little boy that said, I will give the first gift, a few loaves and a few fish. And God blessed it. And there were 12 baskets left over. So I'm bringing in the few loaves and the few fish. I will make a major gift to All Saints Parish of $10,000. I get the same pay as Father Blatchford. I'm not asking you to do the same. And in fact, that's none of my business. But that's my gift to All Saints Parish because I believe in what we're doing. And it will be hard for me to do that. I will continue to give to the offertory, I will give to the Bishop's Appeal, and I will make that gift to the campaign for the well-being of our parish and our diocese, which I really love. And I will continue to work and serve and live. I'm hoping you do the same thing. The second phase will be the top 50% of the parish. I will approach you and ask you to make a gift less than $10,000 over 3 years, whatever that gift is for you, and then to go out to the rest of the parish, because the widow's mite is as important as the major gift, particularly if it is given with that kind of spirit. And God will bless it and do the rest. What I need from you is, you got those cards. The first thing I need from you are leaders. What's a leader? You won't have to give any presentations. You won't ask for anybody for any money. That's not what you're going to do. But you may offer your home so that 20 or 30 people can come and have the presentations in your home. And we will supply you the names of people that will come to your home. And at that time, in those homes, in those meetings, we will ask for a pledge. It will be between you and God. And you will seal the envelope. Nobody will know what you give. Personally, I don't even look at it. But it will be tallied, obviously. And I believe at the end of it, we will have a miracle. So we need people who will identify at least 5 homes, as well as your own, who might be able to host people, because I'm going to have at least 100 meetings. That's what I'm going to be doing too. 100 meetings to explain to people what's really going on. And if you can identify, that's a leader. A volunteer, I don't know whether they're up there in that capacity, but a volunteer is somebody who says, yeah, I can stuff envelopes, I can mail things, I can put on stamps, I can volunteer to help however it's going, I can clean up, I can set up, I can do all. That's a volunteer. And the most important one, and I mean this with all my heart, is I can volunteer to pray for the success of the campaign, because it's a work of church. And that's all I'm going to do for now. It's just information. I hope you will turn in those little cards at the end. I love being pastor of the parish. I thank you for what you do, and keep up the good work. Thank you.